The woman's clothes are soaked with milk stains. She just gave birth, but she can no longer breastfeed her baby. They had a beautiful baby, but one morning when they woke up, they found the baby had stopped breathing. The child left them without any warning. The doctor said it was sudden infant death syndrome. They hadn't even named the child yet. They buried her with their own hands. The house became eerily quiet. Kelly rarely spoke after that. Dan often cried in secret too, but as the man of the house, he had to stay strong. Dan told his wife to get more rest. He cleaned up the baby's things by himself. He knew this hurt Kelly more. Kelly would need a long time to recover. One day Dan came home from work. He found his wife attempting suicide at home. Dan quickly ran over and held his wife. Dan blamed himself even more after that. Strange things seemed to start happening at home. He felt like something had possessed him. A lump of flesh was moving on his neck. Dan immediately ran to the kitchen. He grabbed a chopstick. He stabbed hard at the lump on his neck. Dan also collapsed. His sister came home just in time and found him. She called an ambulance. Doctors immediately operated and saved his life. Dan was admitted to the ICU. Later he was transferred to the psychiatric ward. It turned out Dan had developed a mental illness. That's why he was seeing hallucinations. After seeing the nurse, he thought of his dead wife again. Dan lost mental control again. He tore off the bandages on his neck. The doctors had to strap him to the bed. They also gave him a sedative injection. This stopped him from self-harming. At midnight he had hallucinations again. He saw his wife's shadow hanging herself, but he couldn't do anything. Dan was in great pain and blamed himself. Under the doctor's guidance he told the truth. After his wife died, he found being alone at home was terrifyingly quiet. If he hadn't gone to work, his wife might not have killed herself. It was because Dan blamed himself excessively that he developed mental problems. Dan could never accept his wife's death, so the doctor arranged for a therapist to roleplay his dead wife, to let him say goodbye properly. Dan said he just wanted to give her some time, to let her grieve enough and then slowly forget. Dan finally understood he shouldn't have left her to cry alone.
그러니까 꼭 다음에도 만나자.
He could only hope for the next life. Then he would definitely treat his wife well. The next life must be happy.